We'll call this meeting to order. The regular meeting of Fruit Heights City Council taking place at 910 South Mountain Road on July 7th, 2026. Welcome to all in attendance. We're so glad to have you here. And we will begin with a Pledge of Allegiance led by myself, and then a thought by Blake, and then a roll call. Please stand and join me. Please begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it's my opportunity to lead this meeting tonight with a thought, and I just wanted to express my gratitude to our America 250 committee, and to those of you who came out to the 4th of July parade. My father-in-law always tells me that it's when we gather together as a public that the fabric of our community gets woven together. And I genuinely believe that that is true. And so that's what I have to share tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. That's a great thought. I feel like the good feelings are still lingering from that wonderful city event. So we will, let's see, roll call. We need to go to roll call before we move on. Haley?
Councilmember Gary Anderson.
Excused.
Councilmember Mark Cottrell.
Here.
Councilmember David Howe.
Excused.
Councilmember Eileen Moss.
Here.
Councilmember Blake Winslow.
Here.
Mayor Jeannie Groberg.
Here. Thank you, Haley. Number 2, declaration of conflicts of interest. Having looked at the agenda, are there any council members who would need to declare a conflict of interest this evening? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll go to reports. First with council members. We'll start, I can't remember where we started last time. We'll start over here with Mark. Anything for you tonight?
Yeah, a couple things from our planning commission meeting last Tuesday evening. Over the next couple of months, they'll probably be sending our way a couple of rezones for us to look at and consider. And then they were also wondering, needed to have the council kind of explain and clarify where did the number of a minimum of 5 lots for a subdivision come from to require a trail easement.
That I suggested. It was trying to think about my experience here in the city and the different lot divisions that we've had, and just looking, the difference between someone splitting their personal lot versus where you start getting a professional organization involved. So that's up for discussion.
Okay, so wasn't anything you had real
No.
target on, just kind of
No.
a idea or
It was
framework or
It was a
thought?
thought based on,
Okay.
just my experience on the council and on the planning commission,
Okay.
so.
And then they also asked if it would be better to include this in the rewrite of the general plan because it could all change with the rewrite. So that was another
And I
thought.
think that the council would like the trails to be addressed separately and as soon as possible. And state law does not require an open house for that. They only require a public hearing. So if you could encourage them to get to that sooner rather than later.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Council report. Eileen, do you have something to report?
We are getting good stuff back from our cemetery committee. We anticipate next meeting to have a presentation to the council. We have spent a long time looking at various options, and one of the options, probably our favorite option that we think we can actually make work, would be a public-private partnership. And in order to do that, we would need to send out an RFP and also get maybe a preliminary from Jones & Associates on what they believe it would cost to start a cemetery. One of the ways you fund a cemetery, there's many ways to fund a cemetery, but It's very interesting because around the state, quite a few private entities are starting cemeteries because they believe it's a profitable thing for them. And they have the option to do different things that cities cannot do. Just for instance, some of the things that have been mentioned to us by some of the private entities have been things like financing, a lot purchase, which as a city becomes very problematic for us. They just have a lot of different ideas. And so we would, anyway, that our cemetery committee is hoping to have things ready to present at our next council meeting. So I'm very excited about that.
Okay, thank you. Blake?
So the America 250 evening went really well. So well, in fact, that the members of the committee have decided that we should meet again to say goodbye to one another. Did we ever decide on a day to do that? Is it going to be this upcoming Monday? The 13th. Well, it was back and forth. It was like, we should get together again. We should get together again. So it's become routine enough that we don't want it out of our lives. So other than that, no, I don't have anything else to report on.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's see. We will move to public comment period, number 4. So the public may, what's that?
Does staff have
Oh,
any reports?
Oh, I always do that, don't I? The staff reports. Lane, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, Weaver Basin Water has started construction on Oakmont. They're replacing an old secondary water line through there. They are on the road. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the interlocal agreement.
Right.
Pine Ridge, they're getting pretty well finished up with utilities and everything, getting close to a walkthrough up there, and yeah, that's all I got.
For their phase 2 or for phase 1?
Just phase 1 for now.
Phase 1?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Darren, do you have anything you want to do for a staff report?
Just to let the council know that we are out for RFP for the general plan, so it's advertising right now, so.
Where are we on
What's out there?
pickleball courts?
I have a meeting tomorrow morning on the pickleball courts with the engineer. There's a couple different drawings he has put together again, as far as just the direction of the pickleball courts and how to align them. So I sent that out to Scott, and but we'll be meeting with them tomorrow morning for a few to get the rest of the process finished. So.
Very good. Thank you. All right, number 4, public comment period. The public may address the city council regarding issues that are or are not on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And state your name and address before you begin. For the record, no action may be taken on items not specifically on the agenda tonight. So public comment period is now open for anyone who'd like to make one.
Hi, Elizabeth Nielsen, 1189 Fence Post Road, and I just wanted to publicly say that I thought that our Fruit Heights celebration for the 250th was fantastic. And it was just delightful, so good. Loved Jim and Jenny Frazier and the work that they did. It was so great to see our Fruit Heights City representing with an actual float in the Kaysville Parade, not just another business advertising. And so that was well done. Thank you so much, and thank you to the committee. I would love to see that happen every year. I know we have our Founders Day, but I thought it was just really awesome to have those booths, to be able to engage, to learn more about our country, and do it as a community. So just want to say thank you, and thanks for the ice cream, and for everybody that did everything there. It was a great evening. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, Jared Hall, 1366 East Heights Way. I was just going to ask if we have a strategy for the watering that's happening here at Harvey Park. I know if you can't answer tonight, it would be nice to maybe get an update on that at some point. From what I can tell, it looks like we're watering daily, twice a day. I know Mayor Groberg let us know we're supposed to be at 20% less than we were last year. It's still stated it's 2 days per week for us residents. I'm assuming the city is not exempt from that. By my calculations, at 4 acres, which is stated in the general plan, we're using or wasting about 160,000 gallons a week, more than what we should be here at Harvey Park, and I'd just like to understand if that's going to change or what the strategy is. And if you
Okay,
can't address
I
that now,
appreciate
I
that.
understand.
I
but
personally
I'd
cannot
certainly
address
love to hear
that.
it.
Lane, do you have anything you want to help us with that, on that?
Yeah, so it should be watering every other station. I have cut it back by 20% from what we were doing last year, but there are some stations that I have been running more. I'll look into it and I'll adjust some times and see exactly what's going on there.
Okay, thank you, Lane.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jared.
Lane,
Appreciate that.
can I just ask Lane a question? In regards to the same thing? Did you reset that sprinkler so it's not watering the roof of that pavilion?
Yes, yep.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, any further comment? Seeing none, we will move on. Thank you for those comments. We appreciate you. Item number 5, presentations. 5.1, Unsung Hero. 2026 Unsung Heroes are Jim and Jenna Lee Frazier, as you may have heard. And by tradition, we honor them both at the Patriotic Devotional, which was held a week ago, last Sunday, and also in our council meeting. And so I would like to have them come up, and I'm going to repeat our tribute that we made to them. And tonight I actually have their plaque, yay, which I didn't have that Sunday, and honor them tonight. So please come and stand. I have to be able to talk into the mic, but I will. Let me see if I can do this. Did I add the juicy stuff? No. It's all good material. I had good material to work with. Jenna Lee grew up in Centerville, a Viewmont High School graduate, while Jim was growing up in several places, graduating high school in Washington State before moving to Utah. They met at Weber State University and fell in love. Jim had a passion for flight and set his sights to be an Air Force pilot. As a young married couple in the Air Force, they set out on their life's adventure together. That adventure would take them all over the country from coast to coast, starting with pilot training in Enid, Oklahoma, and on from there over the next 20 years, living in Alaska, Arkansas, Nebraska, Kentucky, North Carolina, Colorado, and Texas. They owned a fixer-upper Cessna that Jim bought for $100 before they ever owned a house or a reliable car, Jenna Lee tells me. Jim flew C-130s for the Air Force. He taught flying to the cadets at the Air Force Academy and eventually retired as a lieutenant colonel, moving on to fly commercial for Delta for several more years. Jenna Lee quickly became an amazing force on the home front, raising their 3 children and being ready to pack the whole house and move at almost any time. When their first child was born, Jim dropped her off at the hospital and went to report for his cadet training, following the very strict requirements and expectations that were drilled into him. But fortunately, a kind commander that day sent him back to the hospital to be with Jenna Lee. And as their family grew, Jenna Lee's organizational talents did as well. She ran a tight but loving ship, earning the endearing nickname General Lee, as a play on her name. And though a general always outranks a colonel, she and Jim have always worked as a team and found many ways to make sweet compromises. Jim and Jenna Lee loved their time and their adventures living all over the country, but eventually found their way back to Utah and have called Fruit Heights home for the past 33 years. They now enjoy a growing family of 11 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. One daughter has served in the Marines, carrying on a long tradition of service to country after her parents, as well as other forebears who served in World War II, and even one ancestor of Jenna Lee's, who was a militiaman who fought at Valley Forge in 1776. Service, patriotism, sacrifice, and doing what they can for others runs in their veins. Jim and Jenna Lee's 33 years in Fruit Heights have been filled with service to others of many kinds. Jim's handiness with machines, woodworking, tools, and more have made him a go-to man to call when a neighbor needs help or a hand with a project. Jim enjoys fixing things and assisting neighboring widows and other friends at any opportunity. Just call on him, you'll see. Jenna Lee has been called on many times to help set up an office and get it going for a friend starting a business, and ran her own business here for many years as well, called the Basket Menagerie. In earlier years, she had taken an interest in basket weaving, and her artistic talents blossomed. She became a sought-after artisan and teacher. She's taught hundreds of students. She's written the Boy Scouts Merit Badge book on basketry, and in the early 90s was even asked to weave an angel ornament for a White House Christmas tree, which she did. As a dynamic duo, they have been active committee members in some important city projects, such as helping the creation of our beautiful Veterans Memorial at our City Hall a couple years ago, as well as in the concept and construction of our city's awesome parade float for this 250th celebration year. And when you attend the parade, of course this was before the parade, when we attended the parade, we saw the float-sized replica of Boston's Old North Church and the 2 lanterns that go with it coming down the street. And we were seeing Jim's creativity and building skills put to use in honoring our forebears and their courage. Jim and Jenna Lee chose the theme of the 2 lanterns from the Old North Church, not only as a tribute to the past, but also an expression of hope in the future. The float's motto is 2 lights to brighten our nation's tomorrow. And tomorrow will indeed be bright if we all draw inspiration from the Fraser's example of service to one another. When I sat with them to learn their story for a delightful 2 hours, the final thoughts that Jenna Lee expressed gave me the perfect summary. She told me that she and Jim simply draw joy and enjoyment from looking around them to see where they can be of help and then doing that. She told me that her father had an ethic that always stuck with her. He would say, "There are 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week for all of us. What are you going to do with your time?" Jim and Jenna Lee, Fruit Heights thanks you and honors you this year for the way you spend your time in our community, sharing your light and your talents to serve and to build things and people around you. Let's give them a warm And going right along on that same wonderful theme is to recognize our America 250 committee. And I was hoping to have the whole committee here tonight, but being a busy summer, we're missing several of them. But we do have our committee chairs, and we'd like them to come up, Linda and Jim Krismer. And let me look, is there anyone else here? Wait, I mean, Fraser's were on the committee. You guys come up too. And I think that's all we have here tonight, right? Of our, Blake, you helped on the committee also. Karen on our staff. Can you maybe use that microphone and name, do you have, I don't want to put you on the spot, do you have a list of the names of all the committee members so we can make sure that they're recognized and thanked?
Well, I'm Jim Krismer, and I got just a couple things to say.
Okay.
It's just, I want to thank, on behalf of our committee, I want to thank the mayor, city council for supporting our Fruit Heights America 250 committee and our celebration last Monday. Thank you for combining the Founders Day with Fruit Heights America 250. I think that really made a big difference. And so, again, all the feedback I got, people really loved it. It was a fantastic success, but I'm a little biased. It was a great success because of the people on the committee. Everyone was committed, enthusiastic, creative, positive, and fun to work with. I don't believe anyone knew everyone the first time we met, but when it was all over, we all had become friends. So I also want to thank the following Fruit Heights staff for their help and dedication to celebration. We always hear about the staff, but you never hear names. So I want to go through Darren Franzen, the city manager, Lane Leonard, our public works, Ted Perry, Dylan Jensen, Skylar Crawford, Cade Larson, Nick Averett, Crystal Kunkel, Haley Ballingham, Stacy Tuttle, and Karen Coleman. And I just want to put a little asterisk next to Karen. Without Karen, I guarantee a lot of stuff wouldn't have happened. Okay, she was the cornerstone of it. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Linda,
I'd
go
just
ahead.
like to add to that, I just am so grateful that we had the opportunity to hold this amazing event. But I want to give special thanks to those folks that did the historical stations, because as a teacher, I was so impressed to see kids and parents hanging out at those stations, working together, learning American history. And I just thought that was amazing. And Scott, thank you for the ice cream and for your family hanging out there on a hot day with sticky ice cream for hours. So you guys did a great job.
So, and I hope you can fill in if I miss anyone, but I'm going to try to name most of the others, or hopefully all of the others on the committee, so that we can, do you have that list there?
I got a list.
Please, by all means, go ahead. I know that I'm missing a couple on mine, so.
So it was the four of us, Celeste Cottrell, Fawn Morgan, Chad Edgington, Nicole Hale, Rachel and Lincoln Homer, Julia Bush, Maxine Christensen, Matt Lyman, Brad Timothy, and Blake Winslow. I
Perfect.
think that's everyone.
I think it is. Darren, you have some goodies back there. You want to share with these wonderful people?
I'd like to give a special shout out to our crew that decided halfway through the night that they were going to be face painters. Lane, I hear that
Yes.
you were wild
Yes.
but enthusiastic.
Yeah.
It was probably the best face
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding. The face painting line gets long as it does, and later in the night, Lane and Skylar jumped in to paint kids' faces. I mean, we have an amazing staff. You guys are awesome.
We've
Thank you.
started a new tradition.
Maybe we have to be back by popular demand next year. Thank you so much, and just our city thanks you, that committee. That was a really special event for our community, and just added so much, I know, to my enjoyment of this amazing year and celebration and all the other things that there are. That was just a real beautiful highlight to have that in our own community put on by our residents. So
It was like a Hallmark movie.
there you go.
But
That
with
was
a
your
lot
comment.
more people there than you see at Hallmark activities. It was great.
It was just great. Just so good. Okay, thank you. Moving to item number 6, public hearing. We are holding a public hearing. 6.1 is on the annual compensation of the elective and statutory officers. What that means is, by statutory means our city manager and any department heads, which in this case is just Lane, elected, obviously all of us here, I believe appointed as well, so that includes planning commission. And by law, as of a couple years ago, we have to hold a standalone or separate from the budget hearing, we have to hold a separate public hearing for these wage increases. So that's what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, so, Mayor and Council, as we went through the budget process, during the budget hearings and the public hearings, we did discuss wages and different things through the budget process. As I was talking with our attorney, he reminded me, or told me actually, that the law had changed a couple years ago, and that now, anytime that the elected officials or the city manager or statutory employees or appointed employees like the Planning Commission receive a raise during the budget process, that they hold a separate public hearing just for that. As I understood the law when I did this, I understood that the law, as long as you were talking about that during the budget time, that fulfilled that law. The law changed, I want to say it was in 2024 is when they updated the portion where it was required to be a standalone public hearing. Still part of the budget, but it had to be a public hearing for that. So I'm bringing it back to the council now to have that approved on a standalone public hearing, so.
Great, thank you. And so it should be noted that all the numbers we're looking at tonight, there's nothing new here. This is what we've been talking about in our budget and passed in our budget, and it matches up with those things and the direction that council gave. But we'll open the public hearing. If there are any members of the public who would like to offer comment on this, now is your opportunity to do that.
Is the second page of this part of it as well?
Yes, it is. It's all one, yeah.
It has the pay scale on it that the council asked me to add or work on. Talking with the attorney, most cities add that to the process, is the pay scale.
Okay.
And so he recommended putting the pay scale on there that was talked about.
Right.
So on the left-hand side, we're seeing salary versus hourly on the right-hand
Yeah.
side. And what are the with the pay scale, is this a multi-year?
Hang on, I'm sorry.
Oh, I beg your
This is
pardon. We're still in
this is
public comment. We're
hearing.
still
We
in public
can
comment.
just
Right.
hold on to that for a minute till we're in the discussion, but let's let the public hearing have its time and then we can go into discussion.
My name is Dale Kunkel, 1624 East Old Lake Lane. And before I make any comments, I would like to point out the clear conflict, potentially, around my comments and employee compensation and payroll. The city council and mayor are well aware as staff. For those of you in the room who don't know, I am married to Crystal Kunkel, who is an employee here at the city. And I have a couple of comments. Number one, I applaud the city staff, city council, mayor for coming up with the matrix that is on the second page there, with a minimum, midpoint, maximum salary range. As a hiring manager in the private sector, this is a really important thing when recruiting and retaining individuals to work in your space. They're able to see what their potential start is, what they can merit, and it gives them a clear picture of what their windows are in the position that they're hired to. And so that's incredibly important. The second item that I'd like to address, just from my experience in the private sector, and admittedly, I haven't ever led or managed in the public sector, but I have to imagine there is some crossover. One of the most difficult things in the private sector is turnover of key employees. And when I speak about key employees, it's usually somebody who has some sort of unique type of training. In the years that I've been coming to the budget meetings and city council meetings here, I know that our public works individuals have some specialty water training, and other, I believe they all have to have commercial driver's licenses. And one of the things that I think our city runs the risk of not adopting a matrix such as what is being proposed tonight is that we become the incubator for other cities. We absorb as taxpayers all of the training, all of the buildup in order for us to launch these people off to somewhere else who's going to pay them their appropriate wage. I would encourage the city council to take this seriously and look at it. And on a personal note, I want to express, hopefully I won't get too teary here, but express my personal gratitude for my spouse's employment at Fruit Heights City and the fringe benefits that come with it. One of our children, one of our oldest children recently turned 26 and aged out. But shortly after Crystal became full-time and benefits, that daughter of ours was diagnosed with 3 autoimmune diseases. And I don't know how we would have done it without the support of the city and the government benefits that come around that. And it has made a tremendous difference in our life. And as, you know, the spouse of the only Fruit Heights resident who is an employee here, I say thank you to the residents who have supported, you know, our family, even though you may not realize it. And thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you. Seeing no further comments, I'll look for a motion to close that public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Motion from Blake. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mark. All in favor? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing, motion passes. The public hearing is closed. Moving to discussion items for council discussion. Number 7.1 is the compensation that we're looking at here, this ordinance of elective and statutory officers, resolution 2026-12. Did I say resolution? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say ordinance. Misspoke.
Well, once again, Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity for me to come up. All the numbers that are associated with this ordinance are approved in the budget. And they fit into the guidance, what was given by the council, as far, once again, as the increase for the council and the mayor, and also the increases for the staff that fall down into there. Not all I'll tell you right now, as the staff are continue to learn and stuff, not all of those are at the pay scale yet, but with a pay scale that can go into place, it's something that we can work for over the next couple of years. It's not all at once that we have to be into that pay scale. It's that option as they continue to get their training and continue to do the things they need to do. And meet their goals is getting into the pay scale. But all the numbers in this are approved in the current budget as we went through the budget process.
Thank you.
I have
For the benefit of public, I think this is not news to the council, but the pay scale that is seen there is based on, for your information, was not just drawn out randomly out of the air. That's based on an extensive work by Darren in contacting and all other cities in our county and putting together comparables of as near as can be done, position for position, to see what our staff members are, you know, their counterparts are being paid in other cities, realistically, where we fall in that. And in most cases, we fall pretty low in that, if not the very lowest. And so these were not randomly chosen numbers. This came together from a lot of work, a lot of legwork on Darren's part. And in the case of some cities, had actual, you know, they'd hired a company and done a study, so they had that type of information to share. But in every case, putting that together from real data around us in our county here. Thank you for that. So Eileen, did you have something?
I did. Darren, I really thought that we got your raise done in January, and so I thought that was excluded from this, so I'm not quite sure where we're going with that. You've added another $1,500.
So I actually put mine in there because it was approved. It's not saying that the raise has to happen right now, but it's part of the public hearing for the budget moving forward. So I budget.
Did we have a public hearing in January to give you a raise? And
No.
did you get the raise?
I did get a raise, but we did not have a public, we just had a meeting in November. And then when the new council came on, it was approved at the first of the year,
Wasn't that December that meeting was held, and then,
November.
was it November?
Yeah.
And it was held in November, and then it was, at that time was, they waited for the new council to approve it.
So-
So I budget for the raise every year, for a raise in that department. After talking with the mayor and stuff like that, I budget amount there, and that's just in there. And then it goes through the process of the budget every year.
So just because that's in there does not mean that we are approving that amount for you? Or we are approving that amount for you?
It's just following in and saying it can be up to that amount, within the budget.
So it's not a floor or a ceiling necessarily. It's not saying that it's,
So-
can't go
so-
above and it can't.
It wouldn't go above that, because it's not, we did not budget
Okay.
more
so-
money than that for,
But I think the
An
intent
increase.
on the council was to be, my intent was to be at the 138. And so I don't quite understand the additional amount, but I guess 138 is where you're at. And so to get more than that, do you have to come back, or is this?
I'm not at that range.
138?
I am not there.
Isn't that what what did
No.
we tell you in January?
Wasn't it 6,000?
It
was at
was
one-
an increase, to 131 through 132,000. And that fell within the budget amount that was talked about. This is a brand-new budget year.
Right?
And so once again,
So that raise.
that raise was put into that
Yeah,
budget.
and it wasn't retroactive in that budget year. It was only applied since its adoption. So you're right, that was just 6 months ago that we took that action, or if you want to count it from November, but it actually took place in January. There's no rhyme or reason why that happened in that late in the year. I think there was just sort of it getting kicked down the road in a series of
No, we
maybe
did. We did a raise
miscommunications, but
before. This was
Yeah.
an additional.
not.
So when I was
So-
hired,
so-
part of
Can I
the-
finish? It just
Yeah.
makes sense to me that we just align everybody on the same schedule, that when we do budget time, we have this discussion, and then we do, the performance reviews Darren does with the staff, and I do with Darren, and that we just make it make sense that way, that we do it, we handle it all at one. It's all in one ordinance, it's all in one hearing as well.
Well,
So
you're right. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to do
in
it
this
all
case,
together.
it's kind of, well, we're doing a little, quicker than 12 months, but that's a one-time thing. It's not like intended to be every 6 months. It's just, let's get everybody on the same schedule. And when I look at the wage comparisons that we've been looking at for several weeks here, when I consider Darren's experience, extensive experience and institutional knowledge and value in this city, when I consider that he definitely has other offers he could entertain, I think we need to look seriously at what those are, at what those numbers are, and where we're paying him. And it was my recommendation to that I recommend to council to do the full amount within the council recommendation from the last time. And this amount calculates Darren's COLA at the same amount as everyone else's COLA.
And yet he told us that he was figuring it, not including himself.
I did not.
That's correct.
When we did the COLA for the whole staff.
That's correct.
I took mine out of it to keep it down, and I took the same amount as
So-
every staff member got.
His is not in
as
the calculation, but he receives that same average that everyone else is receiving.
And
So that's where this calculation ends up, with that same amount as others.
the
and
other
then
problem I
the-
have
the merit raise.
is these numbers changed, and they've changed several times since we got the budget, because when we first got the budget, we weren't even given the numbers, because there was some thought that it was not public information.
Well,
And-
the numbers were requested by council, though.
The numbers were requested by council, but we were pretty late in the budget process by the time we got them. And so I'm struggling with several things. The direction was 3% total, in addition to the COLA. But when I look at your ranges, the ranges are, I can't even tell what they are. Obviously, we told you 3%, plus we understood that a couple of people would be receiving promotions. And so I'm just struggling, because
So
when I look at some of these, like, many of them are 14 to 19% in up from your midpoint. And so I'm not quite sure how this fits with
I
what
will
we
say
directed.
that the pay scale, the majority of our employees are at the very bottom of that pay scale. They're either not quite in the pay scale, or they're in the lower range of the pay scale. The pay scale is more set up to show individuals, this is where this position can go to. It could be up to this much. I don't budget that full amount of any of those pay scales, and I didn't. I went through and did pretty close what the council directed me to do at the last meeting. I had amounts set to maybe bring people higher to meet a little bit more into the pay scale. I did not do that. I did go by the direction of the council, what they asked me to do, and that's how I worked with the employees through that part. The pay scale is, honestly, it's at the bottom of the county average.
A county
and-
commissioner makes $142,000. So we're coming up with a city manager making pretty similar money to what a county commissioner is making.
Yeah, like I mean, you look at what the comparables are, that's not even the average yet. It's below,
I think the city managers
city
and
managers.
Bountiful and Layton were not included, correct, in these figures?
We're not included in this.
Those are,
They're not.
I'm curious, what is are we, because I want to kind of keep this closer to policy than to specifics. Are we, if our pay scale is to give flexibility to Darren with hirings, and it doesn't create a floor, this isn't, we have to get to these numbers immediately. I'm curious as to what the concern is.
So, well, there's a lot of concern. If you look at private sector, typically, if you look at everybody in private sector that has this job title, like Public Works Director, if there's Public Works Director, Public Works Director, Public Works Director, if there's somebody above the midpoint, there has to be somebody below the midpoint.
Right.
And what I'm seeing here on this page, and it's very, I guess part of it is it's really just really hard to understand where we said what the COLA should be, and we said the maximum that we're willing to look at. And yet I'm seeing
And right now,
percentages that are very different.
They don't
on
fit
this
into
page.
that pay scale yet. When we did the budget and we went through the first time before the tentative budget, we did not have a pay scale at that time.
Right.
The council directed me to go to other cities and come up to get an average of where all the other cities were. I put a pay scale together and compared all the cities in Davis County, excluding Layton and Bountiful, because their wages were a lot higher
Right.
than all the surrounding ones. I took those out of that equation. I took every one of those and I created, here's a county average. Then I went back and went to every city and said, here is the lowest city for this pay. Here's the lowest for this position. Here's the lowest for this position. And
So-
that's what I made our pay scale to match. So our pay scale is from different cities, but it's their pay scale, which is the lowest in the county. Because
So
I
what-
figure that's close to
This-
matching
yeah,
up to
exactly.
what.
This pay scale does not represent county averages. This pay scale mostly represents county lows, the lowest in the county.
So-
And we're not even talking about that we're even up, if we approve this raise, we're not even up to the mid.
Yeah,
And of the lowest of the county. So that's what I'm saying where we're at with that.
I mean,
I'm not
I'll
understanding.
throw this out. If you want to take mine off this and not even have mine here and pass this at this time, so that I can proceed with the staff and proceed with the council, I'm fine with that.
Well, I don't think that that's
I don't
necessarily
think-
what we
yeah.
should be doing. I think that
No.
I want to address the concern that is this a percentage concern or is it a lump concern? I'm still struggling just a little bit. If you'll
So-
help me to understand.
So one of my concerns is as we were looking at the amounts people could make, this is way different than that. This is way different than the 3%.
You're correct, we're not up to that
Right.
pay scale
We're not there
yet.
yet.
Yeah.
And that's gonna take us a couple years to get up to that pay scale.
So one of my concerns would be that I believe we need to be comparing not only to public, but also a little bit to private. And the reason I say that is because, someone who is being a PIO here, doing community relations, could also do that job in private sector. And so one of the things that Gary had.
At a higher rate, and
Yeah, a
I
lot
do know
higher
that.
rate.
yeah.
Potentially, but Gary had suggested maybe we needed to hire somebody to do a pay scale study for us during this upcoming year, so.
Just to like hire someone to pull comps and to kind of do apples to
Through-
apples and.
Apples to apples through the public-private sector. One of the things that public sector does have, as Mr. Kunkel knows, is some really good benefits. And that's typically, some people appreciate that more than others. I know we've had employees leave because even though the benefits are good, that maybe wasn't something that was important to them. And so,
Well,
But
I
I
think
think if-
along this is that if your people are not making enough in a wage that they can rent, that they can do those kind of things, and that's happening, it's pretty hard to have a family, and it's not happening just in the public sector, it's happening in the private.
everywhere. And I know this,
And-
I work with a lot of people who are making less than $50,000 a year
So,
and trying to support a family on that.
Yeah.
do you
And I
want,
agree with that.
so the comment that was made earlier by Mr. Kunkel was that there's the potential to become an incubator, which I think is actually a fair thing to say, is that if people are hired here and they are trained here and they have those state required training, we could be watching as turnover happens. So,
And that has happened over the last few years.
It has.
so help me to, where do we go? I would love, because we're kind of close to needing to have this buttoned up for the year. As proposed, do we have a problem with this ordinance, or do we?
I think I would rather David and Gary be part of the vote on this particular subject. I think there's a lot going on here, a lot of moving pieces,
Okay.
so.
I don't see all the moving pieces. He sent us out the information, the data, showed us the cities, showed us which cities were low, which cities were high. So if we went through that information, we could very easily see that most of our people, or almost all of them, were at the very bottom of the pay scale or hadn't even reached it yet. And then I don't think you can compare public sector and private sector and do a comparison. Those are two completely different worlds. And like I brought up at the last meeting, the last thing you want to do, if you've ever hired people and had to fire people, both professional and support type people, once you have somebody that's really good, you want to do everything in your power to keep them, because you don't know what you're going to get in the next employee. You have all the training. And so if we have some good people, we should have the flexibility to give them increases if they're meeting their responsibilities.
Is there a potential, because what we did with the budget was we just gave a recommendation as well. So we were able to pass that budget so that amount was available with a follow-up saying, this is direction from council. If we had that with this ordinance, do you think we could move forward with it, or are you still feeling like it would be the right move to postpone until we have the rest of council present, or to table? I mean, if my thinking is this, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we table this and we have to adopt this, we're probably going to have to include something that goes back and
To
is
July 1st.
retroactive, right?
July 1st.
And if there is a commitment that we can do that, then
We can always do that.
right,
We've done it many times.
right. Well, I'm not certain that if an ordinance fails in this way, that we can bring it back up. If this goes to a vote.
The mayor has the right to put it back on the
But where I'm struggling with, we've brought this up several times in the budgets and the
Just
tentative.
because you bring something up doesn't mean,
Yeah, but I don't understand why
There's nothing
the
new here.
change all of a sudden.
that's what I'm
There's
saying.
gotta
This
be
isn't
more-
change all of a sudden. This is quite
No.
different than what we approved for actual numbers. This is this
From 2
nebulous
weeks ago?
thing
From 2
that
weeks
we
ago?
approved with the
Had-
budget, that when we said the 3%, 3.5% for the COLA, and then a maximum of 3%. And we're looking at.
And that's what we've done with the employees. That's why I say this pay scale is not this year solve the problem.
Right.
This is a pay scale that will take a couple years to get there, to get to the employees.
we're not close.
To the bottom or into the middle of it. It's
Right.
not something that is budgeted completely for this year. I did not budget that. But I did, as the council ask, and put all that information together and showed the council. And that's what that is. It's just giving that opportunity to say, okay, we may not be here yet, and maybe that's part of the motion. Yeah, we know we're not here yet on the budget, but this gives us a guide to work towards.
Yeah,
Like
the
that-
only actual salaries specified in this does not touch in a specific way other staff salaries besides Darren's and Lane's. Those are the specific ones of this ordinance. This pay scale is adopting a range, an idea, in this case, a goal, because it's still aspirational, because we're not there yet. It's not adopting actual amounts for actual positions. Like this year, it's saying this is the range that we, through investigation, through research, through comparisons and things, this is what we want to shoot for. And again, it's not county averages. These are all these min, mid, and max. These are the county lows. And we're trying to shoot for those. So I don't think that's overreaching, and it's a good guide to have. A lot of cities have a pay scale adopted for reasons that have been articulated. It's a good idea to have that. And we have not had that, and I feel like it could be a good, works as a good vehicle in discussions. It should be revisited
Every year.
every
This
budget
doesn't-
cycle. It's fine. Like,
Right, right.
you know, it needs to
I
be
apologize.
adjusted over time or inflation, all those things. But we'll sit around here every year that I've been around and say, does anybody know what city manager's make in another city or what so-and-so makes in another city? And none of us really know, but now we have something like that. And now this council and future councils have a reference point to look at. And that really helps in the budget discussion each year. So I fully support adopting a pay scale. I feel like there's nothing new here tonight. We've had these numbers and this information in front of us for a while now, and all of these things came right out of the budget that we approved last time, as well as the direction that the council gave with regard to percentages,
Well,
and they're all fully aligned with that. So-
not all the employees are in the pay scale yet. This pay scale is a guide, say, this is where we need to start being to meet the low end of the county. I had multiple discussions with our attorney about, do you put this pay scale in this or do you not? He went through the pay scale and he said, yeah, that's a really good guide. Or is everybody in that pay scale? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, and that gives the council opportunities each year to look, here's where our people are. Are we meeting this as a goal? And so that's why I added the pay scale to it. The pay scale can come out of it, and we can just continue to go with what was budgeted and use the council's recommendation. That's just a motion from the council to take the pay scale out of it, and we still have discussions on the pay scale later.
So, because, I mean, we're getting to be a little bit verbose on this, but we passed the budget in the last meeting and we gave direction.
Yes.
And so.
And that's the direction I
What I'm hearing, and correct me
For
if
the
I'm
actual
wrong.
raises.
For the actual
For the
raises.
actual raises. What I'm hearing is that we've got a potential here that some of these numbers might be more than where we're at. And so so if we just clarify that this is what we anticipate at some point in the future to be at, but that's not where we're going to be. Council still is giving the direction we gave with our budget meeting,
Yeah.
that these numbers, I mean, we do. Moving forward, like we've passed the budget already, so this conversation is a formality for us to go through these numbers, correct?
Yeah.
And the budget, we talked about your salary being at 138. That's what the number.
And that's fine.
Well, so we've also, I mean, where we have, if we're going to make some amendments to this, we've got, when I read through it, we've got whereas written at one point probably needs to be removed. I don't want to necessarily get into any individual person's pay unless it falls outside of the range of what council approved in the last budget meeting. Unless other members of council disagree, I'm pretty confident and comfortable with the budget that we had passed previously, and where that wouldn't be a order of magnitude off from what we're seeing here. I don't disagree with that.
I mean, if the council
I
wants
don't
to,
disagree with that, potentially that direction with that number. The one
Which
that,
number?
the number that we discussed before with Darren, 138. Because that's not an order of magnitude off. Again, without getting, I recognize and I would like to point out that this is a delicate subject. We're talking about how people pay their mortgages, so, or their rent, and I want to be
But we're also talking about our
delicate.
citizens and how they pay their mortgages.
Correct, and that's exactly correct, is that therein is the difficulty and the sensitivity of this part of it. Without exposing anyone to too much undue scrutiny,
like I said, if the council wants to take the pay scale out of this, that's fine. We can take this out of this ordinance, and we can continue to work on the pay scale, and go through that process. And
Well, we could always update the pay scale too if council chose at a future date to have it done by somebody that does comps. I don't know that we need to make anything too drastic of a change, unless, I mean, I would like to hear from the other members of council.
There's only one here.
I like the pay scale because I like to see where we're at, where our people are at, give them the opportunity to work a little bit harder or go get some continued education to be able to move up. As Dale mentioned, in the public sector, I'd be afraid if we lose 2 or 3 people and we go out and have to hire somebody new. In most cases, you're going to be having to pay somebody more to be able to come in here to attract somebody. So I think if we have the right people, we should do everything we can to keep them. And I'm okay with this because we've talked about it. He sent us out all the data that we needed, and we approved it in the budget.
Thank you, Mark.
any more questions for me?
It will require all 3 yay votes tonight to pass this because everything requires that many votes. If the council feels that we should table it for the other 2 members to join us for that, that is also an option. But if we can feel
I think
comfortable,
that.
if there is a small amendment to it that would
Well,
help,
I
if
think
you
that
feel
we-
comfortable, we could discuss that.
I think we certainly should amend at least the language. We've got whereas written on it twice. I don't know that that's correct.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm
I
wrong.
see what you're saying.
Hear
I spoke
ye,
with
hear
Darren-
ye.
I spoke with Darren about that as well.
But
Mr. Pace.
with our budget discussion in the last council meeting, we moved forward with direction, which I was comfortable with, and I'm comfortable with, as being the instruction to Darren to make sure that we have that without it being too explicit. And I think that we may be past that point, being too explicit where everyone is at. And that this is a realistic budget in 5 years, that if we're watching this and we're seeing this in 5 years, that this is still something that we can meet these numbers. And I've not seen other than maybe a couple of little things that we could tighten up on this right now, which is, I think, the number that you gave us, as well as maybe one less whereas. I'm comfortable with moving forward to a vote tonight, but we do, because we have 3 members of council, which is a quorum, we have to have 3 votes for this to pass. If we're not, if we don't feel comfortable with this, or we prefer to table it, I would prefer to go that route in lieu of it failing. So,
I would agree with everything Blake said.
Okay, Eileen?
We'll be voting in a minute. I'll think about it for a while. We have some other things to discuss.
Item 7.2, interlocal agreement between Weber Basin Water Conservancy District for the Oakmont Acres paving project. Resolution 2026-13.
So this is an interlocal agreement with Weber Basin. Weber Basin is in the process of running a new irrigation line down Oakmont. Currently, it's a private line in individuals' backyards. They've come back to that group of residents and are putting it down the street, and then they'll put new, I would say, just new meters in for the irrigation in the front yards, and then the residents will hook into that. Part of this is this is a road that we had scheduled to pave, and so this is going back to have Weber Basin pay a percentage of the redoing of the road. And so it's an agreement like we've done on 650 with the county, and when we redid that road, that a portion would be their responsibility. It's the same thing with Weber Basin on this one.
Is that clear to everyone, what that's about?
do we have a timeline?
So they've actually already started the replacement of the water line. We actually, tomorrow, have our bid opening for street work. So we'll also have that coming up to the council fairly quickly.
Okay.
So, I would think they'll take them a few weeks to get theirs done.
Okay.
And then we'll move forward with our part after that. But this is just an agreement between us both.
And this would put Oakmont kind of at the top of our list of road projects?
It was already on our list, and talking with Wayne and also talking with Weber Basin, we felt like this is one of the roads that does need to be completed. It's falling apart in different areas, and it's creating a lot of patchwork. And so it saves the city a little bit of money to have them pay a portion. So we thought this was another good one to work with one of our neighboring entities or Weber Basin to get this taken care of and save a little bit of money for that street.
30%, I think,
Yeah,
right?
30%, that's what I
So
think it is.
upshot is Weber Basin is paying 30%, so they're doing 30% of, digging out 30% of the road. And we're gonna repave it and they'll pay that portion for it.
Yes, and they'll pay back that, they'll reimburse the city that amount for that contract,
Yeah,
so.
so good
Any other
use of
questions?
funds. Any discussion on that item? Or questions at all?
Sounds like a win-win to me.
Right. It's good practice to do that. We good? Item 7.3, the temporary construction easement agreement. This is regarding up on the hillside there. That has been talked about a few times in this meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the council directed me to work with the contractor and the homeowner and kind of set up a thing for them to be able to go across city property and grant a temporary easement to have the individual be able to construct the project on his property so he could get to the property. I've worked with Scott Martineau with Martineau Homes. He's the contractor that the homeowners hired. We did come to an agreement that they would make a donation to the city for the use of the property, and we'll go through that. And we came up with a timeline that they feel comfortable with.
What is that timeline? Because it's not in here yet.
Right now, it's 1 year, but with the ability to extend at the end of the year if they're just trying to finish up. So we haven't put the dates in yet, because I needed the council to look through the agreement and see if there's any, but nobody has signed it yet. And so that's why I sent it out to the council to look if there was concerns in the agreement. There are penalties if they're not done within that timeline, or they go out of the area, or they're not solving things. There are penalties that the city can apply
I feel
to
like
those.
the penalty might be a little bit mild there, actually, for, I mean, if we truly want that all restored, it could be very, very expensive to them, and you're listing a maximum penalty of $50,000. It could be more than that to, and it should be.
It may
Yeah.
be, I think there's.
It actually only refers in this language to encroachment,
Yeah,
not to
if-
restoration, I think, but.
If we have to increase that, or there's issues, there's language down farther, I believe, that talks about that. That they'd
Yeah,
have to
there's
be
a, I mean,
retained to
they
pay the
have to
attorneys,
carry
and they have to
general
carry
liability as
insurance.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those different things on there, to be able to go across the property. So if there's anything that is out of whack, we also have the ability to go after their insurance.
Yeah, the only concern that I had, and we spoke about this, but I want to just reiterate it here on the record, is that the image that we have at the very bottom, Haley, if you'll scroll down to that image, it comes a little close to one of the trails there on Fruit Loops that I would prefer that we have more of a buffer there.
That was just kind of a quick line to come across on the computer with the mouse.
Sure,
So
but
I
just so long
probably-
as we're.
I probably did get a little close as I came down.
But they are
Yeah,
respectful of
yeah.
the
Right, right.
We-
Agreed.
That has
That's
been
not
something that's been discussed
And in
multiple
fact,
times.
Darren, I think what you said is they actually want to push even farther
Yeah.
south,
Yeah,
as
they do
far
wanna
south
come-
as they can.
Yeah, to come down
That's
into there,
correct. Yeah,
so.
Great.
yeah.
So
there-
we
and-
have I beg your pardon. We have a 1-year agreement that can be extended potentially. They are
At the end of it.
carrying, they're carrying
But they would have to
insurance.
come back and go through the process of
Okay.
explaining why, the different things, so,
And then at some point in time, do we get to talk about how we want to spend their donation?
yeah. That will come back. So,
Strike
That
that
will-
from the record.
that will come back to the council at that point.
Um,
It'll just be a donation that the council receives,
Great.
No, the city receives.
the city.
The city receives doc.
Yes, not the individual council.
Yeah, that's it. Let's
The
take the
city,
35 and
mhm.
spend it amongst the council.
Yeah, so,
No,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm good.
No,
yeah, so.
Okay. No, I don't have any other concerns. Other members of the council.
Okay, yeah, and just so everyone knows, that orange line
is not the road.
Is not the actual, it's going to start much farther to the south, and just clip a much smaller corner is essentially, and come in higher on the homeowner's property than it shows on that map, so it's a smaller clip there. So,
Are we anticipating more than a year?
They are not.
Martineau is
They're-
not?
They're saying once they get started, they're hoping to be done
They would,
sooner than that.
they would like
So-
to have this access built in before September 1st,
Oh, wow.
and they would like to.
They would actually like to start in like a week,
Oh.
And they want,
So-
and they
Yeah,
want
they're
to
ready
get
to go.
it done.
Oh,
before winter. They want to get
But,
as much
and
done
they'll
as
be
before
making their
winter.
donation before they start, correct?
I won't, part of the agreement I have with them is that I won't sign the document until the donation is made.
Okay.
So that's part of the
Yeah,
agreement
and they're
between,
good
job.
with that.
Yeah.
Darren had good conversation with them,
you know,
so.
have we worked with Martineau before in the city?
He
Yeah.
lives in this,
I know he does, but have we worked with him as within the city?
believe
yes.
so.
yeah,
Yes.
multiple homes they've built and
Okay.
stuff like that, yeah. They're
Good deal.
He chaired our planning commission for a while.
Oh, lovely.
yeah.
Chris did,
So-
not Scott.
Chris, not
Chris,
Scott.
not
Okay.
Scott. Dad, not son, but,
But Chris is still this much involved.
and enough to put the screws to his son
Okay.
if anything goes
Yeah.
wrong.
Yes.
We've got an extra layer of security there. Okay, good to hear.
He has an excellent reputation.
Good,
He does.
good.
Definitely. Any further discussion on that item?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's
Moving on to number 8, action items. 8.1 is approve, deny, or I'll say possibly table, Resolution 2026-12, annual compensation of elective and statutory officers. Is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion and see if it goes anywhere, and if it doesn't, then we may go some other direction. My motion would be that we adopt page 1 of this, with page 2 being something that I think we should look at as an entire council, and moving forward, and that the city manager's annual salary be $138,000 as was discussed during our budget hearing.
So remove the pay scale, but not the severability and effective date, correct?
Correct.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we can have discussion on that motion now. Is there discussion on that motion?
Darren, will that work out for you?
And I think we need to come back and discuss the pay scale, but I would like everyone to be here.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, that's okay, but I'm still struggling. We're only talking about $1,500 annually. And for everything that's done and the leadership, I just struggle with us nickel diming. And just like we did 2 weeks ago, fighting over $300. I mean,
Well-
just doesn't make sense to me.
I would agree to a certain point, but the other side of that is that we as a council did give direction, and I feel pretty comfortable staying within that direction. And understanding that this is still a rather sensitive topic, hopefully we can
But I mean,
stay
if-
within that area.
You know, if we can do that, that's fine, as long as we just move everything else forward, so we're not messing with any of our other employees. So if we're gonna move forward, then I'm fine with that.
I believe that that's what would be, it would still be the direction from 2 weeks ago.
From our budget hearing,
Love it.
our budget process.
We feeling good?
Okay. I mean, I just will just say again, I mean, these numbers have been in front of us for weeks.
Yes,
And
138.
we haven't, I mean, I don't know what the holdup is to
But the-
say,
the-
oh, this is all new. It's not new. This is all, has been in front of us for weeks. And and in some cases, months, we've been looking at the comparisons that have been given to us. So,
But this pay scale, as discussed earlier, does not set a floor, right? So this is, that's the aspiration,
no,
but we
yeah,
gave,
it's an aspirational piece, but it's an important reference point. I think it's important to adopt it as a reference point. We've never had this in
Sure.
our budget or in our structure as a city. And that's why we're all sort of free-floating, like guesswork of like, oh, how much should we do this year? You know, we don't have reference points, and that's an incredible value that adds. And, you know, to institute that and then to like maintain it year by year is a really helpful tool for us to be able to compensate appropriately.
Yeah.
And
As we've done
wisely,
before, though,
you know.
when we give direction that we want things brought back to us, they don't necessarily happen for months and months. And so this way, we know it's going to come back to us.
Well, and
Well,
to
I-
speak
I-
to
I
that, well,
think-
well,
We can
I think-
also adopt it and revisit it, but.
Yeah, I think we need to be careful with some of those comments, because there's a lot of times us as council haven't come back or given direction or done what we promised that we would do too. I think we need to move this thing forward and take care of our employees so that they have confidence in us and we can keep those that are here. So if we change that to 138 and can move the whole thing forward, then I'm for that.
and remove the second whereas or the first whereas at our city manager's discretion.
No, let's add a third whereas.
But just again, to reiterate that we have given direction, we have adopted this as a budget item before, and that it sounds like we might be, it would be more comfortable with having this pay scale potentially revisited as not the most critical piece of this. We make sure that our members of staff get paid, and they can be getting paid as of the 1st of July, and we can move forward. I am in favor of this motion.
So also, adopting this pay scale, were we to leave it in, does not actually make a material change in anything. It will be revisited next year. It should be revisited every year.
But we've got a
So-
member of council that's not comfortable with it, and I would
Yeah.
prefer to move forward with this as a vote tonight rather than defer it.
Okay, is there further discussion at all on that, or any amendment to the motion, anything like that kind? Okay, I have a motion from Eileen I need to restate the motion, to amend item D, city manager pay, is that correct, to 138,000? And to remove the pay scale from the ordinance for now, and to revisit it when we have the full council present,
And to take out.
and to take
second
out the
whereas.
superfluous whereas.
I think we
In
should
the same
remove the
paragraph.
first whereas.
Okay, I'll accept that.
And I think I had a second from Blake, is that correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we need to do a roll call vote on this being an ordinance, so Darren or Haley,
Councilmember Gary Anderson, excused.
excused.
Councilmember Eileen Moss.
Yes,
Councilmember Mark Cottrell.
Yes.
Councilmember David Hale,
Excused.
excused. Councilmember Blake Winslow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. Moving to 8.2, approve or deny resolution 2026-13, interlocal agreement between Weber Basin Water Conservancy District for the Oakmont Acres paving project. Do I have a motion on this item?
I make a motion that we approve an interlocal agreement by and between Fruit Heights City Corporation and Weber Basin Water Conservancy District for the Oakmont Acres paving project. Resolution number 2006-13.
2026-13.
Second.
And a second motion from Eileen and a second from Mark. Is there further discussion on this item, on this motion?
I just have one question. On the paper with the motion, it does not list the number of it that I'm seeing. Does it need to be at the top? So I would, Darren, can we,
13?
on the interlocal agreement, it starts with the interlocal agreement, but it doesn't list that it's resolution 2026.
One of these goes to Weaver Basin for theirs, and one is
Oh, yeah,
ours.
there's a secondary
So
one,
ours
yeah.
does show the,
Okay.
or the number.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Resolution
for that.
2026-16.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you.
Anything further on this one before we ask for a vote?
I would just like to state that I'm grateful that we only have a single whereas for each separate paragraph.
Kudos on the whereases. Great. So this is also going to be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Eileen Moss,
Yes.
Councilmember David Hill,
Excused.
excused. Councilmember Blake Winslow,
Yes.
Councilmember Gary Anderson, excused.
Excused.
Councilmember Mark Cottrell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. Item 8.3, temporary construction easement agreement. Do I have a motion?
I
on this
make a
item?
motion that we approve the temporary construction easement agreement.
Have a motion from, we don't need anything more than that, I think. Thank you. From Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Blake. Any further discussion on this agreement? Okay. I don't think we need a roll call on this one. All in favor of approving this agreement, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. I think that was 3 yeses. We have approved that agreement, temporary construction easement agreement. Thank you. Item 8.4, approve city council meeting minutes for June 16th, 2026. Has everyone had a chance to look at those and make any needed corrections
Yeah,
or
I made,
suggestions?
I beg your pardon. I made a correction earlier. The listed numbers for the certified tax rate, I wanted to just double check. Haley, were you able to check that? Mm-hmm. Okay. It was it was listed with the same number as this year's, even though it decreased, and I just wanted to make sure that the number I put in, which was 0.001717 for last year, was correct, so.
Okay, thank you. Any others of note need to be mentioned at all? Or drawn attention if there were late corrections, if you would draw everyone's attention to that, I don't know. I don't have a timestamp of who got on last, if there were anything late others should be aware of. Okay. All right, all in favor of adopting these?
Oh, do we need to
or
have a-
approving- Oh, a motion. Do we not have a motion yet? Sorry, I'll look for a motion to approve these minutes.
Motion to approve city council meeting minutes for June 16th, 2026.
Thank you, Blake. Motion from Blake.
Second?
Second from Mark. All in favor of approving those minutes, please say yes.
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 Was that 3 yeses?
Yes.
Couldn't hear you. Any opposed, say no. Minutes are approved. Thank you. Item 8, no tabled items listed tonight. Number 9, new business for upcoming meetings. Is there any requests or thoughts on that? We've already discussed that pay scale item needs to come back.
So
Or make a note of that.
And we're hoping for the planning commission to set a public hearing to take some action on the trails section of the general plan in the next meeting or 2.
Of the planning commission.
So Darren can maybe direct the planning commission to go ahead and move forward with that. I had a question, Darren. Yes. Do we need to give the planning commission more direction on the moderate income housing information? As far as what the council is maybe willing to consider? Because it sounded like from their meeting, they kind of went through everything in its dog, and a lot of that was never an option. So I don't know. Do we need to help them to narrow down what they're looking at?
So the planning commission did. They went through, once again, they did go through each one of the strategies.
Right.
Went through it, discussed which ones they thought the city could do or the city wouldn't fall into because of certain requirements or that. They do have the list down, six or seven right now.
Okay.
They-
And that's about what we asked for.
They
so-
wanted to have one more discussion
Okay.
about the ones they came up, and then put a number to those.
Okay.
And also, the council asked them to kind of have how we're going to be able to proceed with those.
Okay.
They wanted to start that too. They asked that the staff send them each one of the ones that they talked about, that they thought would be good to all the planning commission members, because there was a couple that weren't there, and to review, and then look at what they talked about. So at their next meeting, they could start looking not only at the strategy itself, but how the city would be able to fulfill that strategy. And then once they do that, they'll be ready to send it to the city council, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
With that discussion, so I am, as part of the Legislative Policy Committee, I've been fortunate enough to meet with their housing group, and they have some data that they're still assembling for this upcoming legislative session that they have titled Moderate Income Housing 2.0 is what they're anticipating. So without putting anything on the record and saying that this is going to happen or this is going to happen, because we have no idea, I am fortunate to be able to go and get some of that information, and I'll be happy to share the data that will be coming
That'd be great.
as they're speaking with lawmakers that have shown interest in developing or undoing some of the requirements within that part of the legislation as it goes forward.
I do have a question. One of the things that we have determined is going to be a big part of our moderate income housing strategies is the internal accessory dwelling units. And I had occasion where someone asked recently why the city would tell them that they didn't need to bother to come in and get a permit because no one was really caring anymore. And I was a little shocked.
That wouldn't come from staff. I
Not even staff would have
guarantee
said
you.
that.
I've not
I've
heard
actually
that.
talked to a couple people in the last few weeks,
Uh-huh,
how they needed to go about to do it, and I had to go through the whole process and actually,
okay.
when they were in
So-
my office, pulled it up on the screen, so.
So
that
hopefully
is
they
something
didn't
we
know what
are-
they were talking about.
Yeah,
Whoever it was that said this
Yeah.
to me, because I was a little bit like, what? Because our staff knows that
Yeah.
we need that.
yeah,
And
no, that
those
is something
numbers are
we
important to
continue to
us.
push with questions. Yeah, and just for the council, we are starting to prepare and start to put together our external,
Our DADU,
yeah.
our detached
our
ADUs.
detached
need-
external.
First meeting in
ADUs.
September where you need to have that by? Is that,
What's that?
I think that's the
EADUs.
deadline, or the state by
so
September, have to have
We'll,
something.
we'll start getting that put together and start also working on that with the planning commission, so.
Great.
And we're starting to look at different cities and what
Hopefully
they're
we'll-
doing, so we can start.
We will keep it within the building pad of the building and not on somebody else's back line so that they're not impacting somebody else more than they're impacting themselves. So,
Yeah, I think one portion of it will be the setbacks, I think will
to
be a lot
preserve
bigger.
those setbacks.
Yeah,
yeah.
instead of the 2 feet or the 3 feet for a shed, yeah, I think definitely that's one portion. I think other cities are looking at too, is where they can create those setbacks, so the impact isn't so much on
On the neighbor.
Yeah.
It needs to be on the property owner, not the neighbor. And
Yeah.
so if they want to have it within their building pad, they could build their house there, so I guess they could build their detached unit there
Yeah,
too,
so,
so.
yeah, so that is stuff that'll be coming up in the next few months.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you for the time to discuss those things.
You're welcome.
Mayor.
You're welcome. Number 10, calendar items, July 21st will be our next city council meeting. July 24th, Pioneer Day, office will be closed. We do not have a closed session, so I will look for motion to adjourn.
Well, before we adjourn, I do want to make an announcement. our lovely and beautiful and fabulous float will be included this Saturday in Farmington's parade.
Oh, nice.
Please attend Farmington's parade. You might see me, my son, my wife, potentially all acting as our pooper scoopers.
Can I ask one
I'm
more thing?
throwing out candy.
From,
We miraculously had candy left over at the end of this parade. Never, ever before seen.
I had about 30 pieces, we had about 30, 40 pieces left,
Yeah,
so,
never seen that before. So we're learning. We're doing.
yeah.
We
We're pacing
overshot it.
ourselves.
We
Well, we didn't have a lot of you city
I think
council show up.
we had fewer throwers this year too.
And so that, yeah, we had fewer
But it's
throwers.
great because we're in 2 parades. We got candy for the Farmington.
I do have
folks.
one more question, if I could.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to put the hours that the city offices are open on the door, kind of like another business would be? Because I think sometimes there's some confusion as to what those hours maybe
Yep.
are. And people, I know that some days the staff does leave at 4:30, and people are shocked when they find that it's not 5 o'clock. And so I think sometimes by posting those hours so that people know what to expect, and they walk up to the door and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Would that be,
We can definitely have that on the door. That's probably something we should have there. So, yeah, we'll
thank
get
you.
something put on there for that.
And then we're gonna get bigger decals on the doors of our trucks so that people can recognize those still. What's that? The stickers just got here. Good. Thank you, Lane.
Can I have one?
I can help you put it on crooked if you'd like.
Full of bubbles?
You need help? You can do it better.
Okay, can I do a motion to adjourn?
One more thing I want to say that I meant to say earlier, I meant in Mayor's report. Just an expression of thanks for all the fire departments that responded to the fire this week. Oh my goodness, that was something else that we saw unfold, technically in Kaysville's boundaries, but right next to our residents, and some of whom had to be evacuated briefly. But incredible response time. Kaysville Fire Department, thank you. Farmington Fire Department, thank you. Layton Fire Department, thank you. And I think I read Hiller Air Force Base Fire Department, thank you.
And it is our
so
residents
much.
that are impacted, that are
Right.
evacuated. It's not Kaysville residents.
That's
It is
correct.
ours.
That's correct. And that was human caused. As you may have read, fireworks were the cause of that fire, and illegal fireworks at that, like not even just this year illegal, always illegal, bottle rockets. So, oh my goodness. So grateful for our first responders and how quickly they were there and how quickly they got it out, and that no loss, no homes were lost, no even anything else. So just a huge thank you from our city to all those responders. And I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Motion from Eileen, second. Everyone in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Mark?
What?
Yes, adjourn? We're adjourned
Seconded, it's done.
Yes.
We can
at 8:33.
one.